we are going to do some pulling, we are going to do some patting, and we are going to do some cutting. Because today's episode of ASMR Reiki TV Reviews is dedicated to Interview with a Vampire. And just choosing better partners. Choosing you to choose better partners. Because I'm talking about Louie. Let's go. All right, fluffing your aura. I mean, I love Interview with a Vampire. I think season 2 was absolutely excellent. I think this adaptation is perfection, and I'm really excited to see season 3, Prince Lestat, and kind of go from the perspective of Lestat, because we've been obviously following Louie, and Louie's such an annoying, great character for me, because he's so self-pitying, and he could be so constrained by morals that he only really hands to others, which can be incredibly frustrating to me. I find him, like, it's kind of like Lestat finds him when he's pimping and making money and being a little bit of a hustler and a greedy. And one thing that always bothered me with Louie is that I get it. You don't want to be dark, but at the same time, you enjoy it. And I think that's what I never understood about his character, or I did. You have to reconcile your joy with causing harm, with being malicious, before you can actually heal that malicious side of you. Like, there was a part of Louie, like, he didn't mind, causing a little damage, being a little toxic. He has never minded it. But it bothers him that he has that side of him where, and part of his infatuation with Lestat is this is somebody who is good and bad, and has understood that in being immortal, he's going to be immoral. He's going to live forever, and he just does not have these kind of options that Louie thinks they have to be a saint. They're not even going to go to heaven. And I'm a good person, and it makes me uncomfortable, the violence of Interview with a Vampire. I really go for the characters because, my God, the acting, Sam Reed as Lestat, oh my God. But I think I understand what Louie's point is. Like, we can't be evil. Like, if we're going to be forever, why can't we be good? Why can't we have a moral code? My problem with him is that he's very selective when that moral code is enacted. Who can follow that moral code? And kind of ignores that he loves when he breaks it. Like, he doesn't mind breaking it. He really doesn't. And I think that his attraction to every character in this series is emblematic of that inability to kind of, when you hold on to your morals so tightly that they don't grow, they don't elevate, you're not a good person, or at least you're not someone who's going to get better. And I think that if you're going to live forever with Louie's mentality, then you better get better. And that was the thing about Claudia. I did not like Claudia. I thought she was cruel and annoying and super self-absorbed. But at the same time, especially in the book, she's 5. And I think at 14, it would be heinous of me to judge a child just because I wasn't like that child. Like, I was a pretty good kid. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't have been all Claudia up. But I think the sadness of Claudia is that she's a victim of Louie's kind of false moral righteousness. Let's do a little cutting. And we pull and we cut. And she loved Louie because he appeared to love her. And I think he did. But I also think that he just loved being good and being seen as good and being seen as somebody that heals and holds and elevates people. And that's kind of what Interview with a Vampire is based on, or at least the first two seasons. Louie's continued perception and desire to kind of free people and reveal to people darkness in hopes that they go to light, all while being dark himself. And what I really had compassion for in Claudia is this hyper awareness she had that she was born into this world of eternal childdom to fix a relationship's toxicity and any responsibility these two men had towards her stemmed from the highs and lows of their love affair or love-hate affair. And they gave her, like, she has bloodlust. She's 14. She has no mental capacity to understand these really big adult themes that they've hoisted on her, including immortality. And I think that when she died, I did find her like cruel and annoying. And she did grow, but she was also kind of like Lestat said, will be eternally stuck in kind of the adolescent, prepubescent anxieties and mentalities of a kid. So she could only grow so much. And I think she's proof that you don't heal your parents. I really do. I think she's really proof of you don't heal your parents. And in some ways, I think she was a greater victim to Louie than Lestat. I think she thought Louie was obviously more loving, and he was, but he was still too selfish, self-centered, self-absorbed. Cut. When it comes to Lestat, I think that it's so funny because all of them are technically characters that are like teenagers, like 20, 14. And I wonder, Lestat mentioned that with Claudia, and I don't know if he like just mentioned that to be cruel or if it's true. Like, are they forever stuck in this like 19-year-old, not only body, but mindset? And yes, they grow because they are going to have hundreds of years of experiences, but there's still this level of entrapment, and it's something that I noticed with Armand. So let me go straight to Armand. I mean, technically in the books he's 17, and he's incredibly manipulative. And when Louie found out that manipulation, I was like, hallelujah, get this man out. I felt really bad for Louie in that he was in a 70-year lie. I'm very happy that he's immortal, because if I was trapped in a lie for 70 years, I would be pissed. I think Armand is just, I think he's worse than Lestat in that Armand just likes so desperately to be in control that it's like he wants to be loved, but he loves being loved. Whether he actually loves love or the person who's loving him is the big question mark. And I think that's my question mark as the relationship with him and Louie kind of ended. Like, did you really want him, or did you want to piss off Lestat for rejecting you? Were you just kind of wanted somebody to end this coven that was annoying you? What were your real intentions? Because they were all self-centered. And people, it's so interesting because when I read people's commentary about Interview with a Vampire, there's so much compassion for these characters, particularly in terms of the burden of immortality and how you can live forever and still not know how to choose yourself, aka Louie, or choose better partners, like aka Lestat. I think that Lestat choosing Louie as a partner, someone that was so sulking and what he felt was consistently rejecting him, was in some ways a sign of how, which is maybe why reincarnation might be a good thing, staying the same person for so long can make your growth stuck. I think that's a really interesting concept. Maybe Interview with a Vampire, I'm just scrubbing your aura, is a really good example of why reincarnation should exist or does exist. To be you forever without experiencing new bodies, new countries, races, creeds, genders. How much can you really grow? Because that's what's so interesting about Interview with a Vampire. They grow and they don't. And it's because they inevitably are going to experience things that shift them, but whether they actually become elevated from these shifts is the real question mark. I think by the end of the season, by that last episode, Louie was definitely like putting his big boy pants, like, come at me, son. I liked seeing Lestat so vulnerable, and I'm curious what his perception will be of jellyfish hands, Reiki jellyfish hands, will be of Louis. Like if he'll see him as crueler or if he'll see him as more depressed. Um, and I also am very, very curious as to where they go from here. Well, I mean, we know the books, but where can they go? Should they just let each other go? It's something I thought of with Killing Eve too, where like you have these characters that are so toxic for each other, but so chemical when they're together. You know, like the chemistry between these two beings. You know they're never going to find out anybody else, but maybe that's the point. Like it's too wonderful and violent for it to stay. I don't know. These are really important questions. Check out DiandraReviewsItAll.com for my reviews. Check out DaddyRecovery.com for all my journey as an artist. And yeah, follow, subscribe. Yeah, I love this.